Things have wrapped up here on Parliament Hill for 2022, and it was quite the year. Even since the start of the fall session in September, Conservatives have been hard at work holding the costly NDP-Liberal coalition to account. Conservatives were excited to return to the House of Commons with our new leader, the Honourable Pierre Poilievre. His plan to put Canadians first, their paychecks, homes and country has been a driving force behind our work on behalf of all of our constituents. Times are tough though, and the wasteful and inflationary spending of this Liberal government has only made things more difficult. When the House resumed in September, inflation was around 7%, and the interest rate was at 3.75%. The price of gas, groceries, and home heating continued to rise, and the government was still spending out of control. To make matters worse, we saw the inflationary impacts of the carbon tax only add to the pain felt by everyday Canadians. The response from the costly coalition? To create band-aid solutions that mean nothing as Liberal-made inflation vaporizes supports. The Liberals piled on top of inflationary programs with wasteful spending. The Auditor General reports the government spent $32 billion in COVID benefits to people under suspicion or fraudulent circumstances, including people who are dead, in prison, or who don't even live here in Canada. That's on top of the $54 million spent on the failed ArriveCan app and the millions of dollars spent on Liberal insiders for things Canadians will never use. Liberals aren't tackling the root cause of inflation, which is their spending. Canadians see more of their hard-earned dollars spent by an out-of-touch government and vaporized by higher prices. And where are we today? In a worse position. According to the Parliamentary Budget Officer and the Bank of Canada's Governor, the Liberals' lack of fiscal responsibility has driven up inflation. Inflation still sits at around 7%, but the Bank of Canada, forced to deal with inflation on their own, has now raised interest rates for the 7th time this year. A 4.25% interest rate is the highest we've seen since the 2008 recession, in a year with the fastest increase in Canadian interest rates ever. 40-year high food inflation will cost the average family in Canada another $1,100 next year, raising the annual bill for groceries to over $16,000. The result? 1 in 5 Canadians are skipping or reducing meals. 1.5 million Canadians visiting a food bank in a single month. A third of them are children. And now half of Canadians are worried about putting food on the table this holiday season. But inflation isn't only affecting food. This winter, home heating bills are set to increase 50 to 100% across the country, and even 300% in some places. Cancelled energy projects and pipelines by this government have only made matters worse. In 2015, when the Liberals took power, there were 15 LNG projects. Today, none have been approved. Instead of building up such a critical industry, this government is attacking Canadian energy producers with higher carbon taxes and fewer opportunities. All of this Liberal-made inflation has a cost. The Bank of Canada Governor projects that the elevated inflation level will cost each and every Canadian $3,500. Adding all the extra costs, gas, groceries, home heating, and the $3,500 inflation tax, it costs away more than all the government supports combined. And that's even before the cost of housing. Higher interest rates caused by ongoing inflation have increased the cost of a mortgage. An average mortgage costs Canadian homeowners $7,000 in interest payments alone. 50% of variable rate mortgages have already hit the point where their mortgage payment only covers the cost of interest, forcing banks to hike up how much homeowners pay on their mortgage each month. This also has a bad effect on the rental market. In a recent report, RBC says more Canadians than ever are renters. But as mortgage prices go up and inflation pushes rent to record levels, the affordability crisis is hitting home. Canadians are out of money, and this government is out of touch. Action needs to be taken now. Conservatives will keep fighting to get Liberals to rein in spending to stop the increase in this Liberal-made inflation. We're continuing to fight to axe the inflationary carbon tax and cancel the Liberals' plan to triple it so gas, groceries, and home heating become affordable again. And we will continue to stand up against tax increases that target Canadian industries and people's pocketbooks. Our Conservative team is fighting to deliver on making more of what money buys instead of letting Liberals keep printing more money. We need to increase the supply of affordable housing, affordable Canadian-made food, and affordable, responsibly sourced Canadian energy. As we head back to our communities, my Conservative colleagues and I look forward to hearing constituents, businesses, and communities. These are challenging times, but I hope that you are able to be with your loved ones this holiday season. If you can, reach out to help Canadians in need and check in with friends, families, and neighbors. From my family to yours, happy holidays and a happy new year.